After all that hard work and editing on my last video, it's nice to know that I can finally sit down and relax for a bit. Let's take a look at what's going on Instagram. Looks like before the money is out. Interesting. Well, there goes that plan for a break. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Did You Know Doji. And today, it's been a while, but I'm doing an album review. Yes, this album I've actually been pretty excited for to actually review, which is Joey Badass's Before the Money. Yes. Now, if you've been watching this channel for a while, you've already seen I did a track review for Big Dusty and also did a concert review for the concert I went to. So you can already tell I was actually very intrigued to see what this album had to offer. But at the same time, I was a little scared. Now, if you don't already know, Joey Badass is a Brooklyn MC. He's from New York. He's put out previous projects such as 1999, Summer Nights, did some things with his Crew Pro era, the Apocalypse tape, and also The Shift. And honestly, 1999 I thought was a very good mixtape. It had a good balance to me. It had a good balance of, you know, deep soul-searching tracks and also very rhyming tracks. One of my favorite rhyming tracks actually on that mixtape was From the Tombs, which if you haven't checked out, you know, you should definitely go check that song out. And honestly, I thought 1999 was a very good mixtape, almost flawless if you will. So when that came out in 2012, I was very interested to see what Summer Nights, his second mixtape, would be like, because, you know, we only had really one project. I mean, he also had Rejects, but Rejects was just tracks that he felt weren't good enough for 1999, so he put those all together on a little mixtape, hence the name Rejects. So 1999, done and gone, so now we have Summer Nights. And honestly, with Summer Nights, I didn't thoroughly enjoy Summer Nights. Although I won't say it was a bad mixtape, it just didn't have a lot of replay value for me. It wasn't something that I could come back and listen to whenever I felt like I wanted to. It was just something like, it was decent, but it wasn't as amazing as 1999, I felt. So with one very good project and one kind of meh project, I was kind of worried, like, well, what's Before the Money gonna be like? Because not only this, but after Summer Night, Joey had released some other stuff, mostly just tracks with certain people, and some were hits and some were misses to me. For example, the Shift mixtape that I talked about, it was different. That's all I could say about it. It was very different. It didn't sound as coherent as I felt other projects did. Plus it was like fully censored. I don't know what that was about, but I'm sure they had some kind of reason for that. But also there's other stuff that he had done, verses that I thought were pretty good. Verses I thought were pretty good that he had done with Static Selector, for example, Carry On, which I felt he held his own very well, especially since he was going up against Freddie Gibbs on that song, and he definitely held his own. And then other tracks like 147, he definitely showed me that, you know, he could do this. But then there are other tracks that I heard him on, which is Supreme with CJ Fly, and I was just kind of like, yeah, this is all right. It's not the best, but I've heard better stuff from him. And I don't know, so I was very unsure. I was just curious to know, was it gonna be 1999 but better, or was it gonna be Summer Nights again? And I wasn't sure, but thankfully I was very much surprised and very much intrigued by this album. I enjoyed it very, very much. Now, I felt with this album, although it wasn't a straight ahead story like other albums that I've heard, not that he's really done anything which is like a straight ahead story, but anyway, point being, I felt with this album he definitely had a little bit of a story to tell, because he was telling you about his life before the money, before things had actually happened to him, you know, just kind of telling you that, you know, his dreams are coming true, but you know, there's some parts in his life where he was just like, you know, I don't know what's gonna happen. And I feel Joey kind of like throughout this album, he kind of takes you on a tour of what things have been like for him since he's, you know, kind of made it. I mean, for example, on songs like Paper Trails, he actually says, before the money there was love, but before the money there was tough. Then came the money through a plug. It's a shame it's still not enough. Like, someone like me seeing like the different types of things he's doing, it's just like, well, you would think he'd have enough money to do what he wants, but even now at this point, what he's doing, it doesn't make him enough. It doesn't give him all that he really wants. And then he talks about throughout the album, especially on Black Beatles, just like kind of like shystiness, I guess you could say, going on in like the industry, you know. Just kind of like people who don't want to see him succeed, who just don't want him to do what he's doing because he's doing it on an independent label, because he's doing what he wants to do, and he's not trying to fall into other people's plans, you know. It's very interesting to see him like tell you the story throughout the things that he's seeing, because a lot of us don't really get to see what goes on behind closed doors in the record industry. But the way he tells it is just like, wow, this is very interesting to hear, very interesting to see. But I'm going to try to talk about this album a little bit in order. It starts off with the song Save the Children, which, if you don't know, it's for the most part pretty much his WXL freshman freestyle, which was pretty good. I thought he definitely transferred it to the album very well, because like when I heard him freestyle on it, I was kind of like, yeah, okay, that's pretty cool. But when it was done on this album, I thought it was actually done way better, probably because of production, things like that. But you know, hey. And then he goes on to the song Paper Trails and then Peace of Mind, which I thought were also very awesome tracks. And from that, he goes on to the track Big Dusty, which, you know, was a pretty big single. And I actually thoroughly enjoyed it very much. You know, the album was going in a very good direction. Then he goes on to different songs like Haze's View, which at first, when I first heard the interlude to it, I heard him talking about, you know, oh, you know, I like to play close to my roots. And then one song came into my mind. No. If you heard the song My Youth from Summer Nights, I did not enjoy that song. So when I heard Play Close to My Roots, I thought, oh boy, here we go again. But honestly, Haze's View is probably my favorite song on this album, in all honesty. I mean, when I hear the song, I kind of get the feeling of like being at a concert, you know, hearing it from a concert perspective, you know, just so much energy being in the room. And I kind of imagine it, you know, going to be like an ending song, kind of like just that song that you hear and it kind of just ends it, you know, especially with the chorus, just like we probably share a trait or two, but I can't see what I can't relate to. Hey Jesus, will I ever get to see you through my Jesus view? I mean, it's a very well done chorus. If you haven't heard the song, it's just done so very well. And then we go on to other songs like Belly of the Beast, number 99, Christ Conscious, songs like that. And it's kind of funny because, you know, Belly of the Beast is kind of like this very ominous song when you hear it. It's so spacious. And honestly, for some reason, I feel like I should like the song because of the way it sounds. But for some reason, I don't mind it. Like, I don't hate the song at all. Like, it's very interesting to me. It's kind of funny, especially how it starts off for some reason, because he says, like, I swear all my life I've been around Crips and Bloods. And it was kind of just funny to me, because I was like, he's from New York. Like, I know Crips are not just in California, not no more, but for some reason, when I first heard that line, I was kind of like, But I think he doesn't necessarily mean it from a literal perspective, but kind of like a figurative perspective. I cannot talk. But anyway, yeah. And then songs like number 99, which, when I first heard the music video, when I first saw the music video for that song, I was kind of like, man, about it. I don't know, it might have been more so the music video aesthetics, because the music video was weird. Like, there's some things I just watched I just felt like it didn't really connect, and I was just kind of like, why is this in here, you know? But when I heard it on the album, I actually thoroughly enjoyed it a lot more than I did when I saw the music video. And then Christ Conscious, you know, I was already rocking with that song when that song came out, because that song is the joint. And then we go on to having other songs like OCB, standing for Only Child Blues. And I thought that was actually a very introspective song, because, you know, like, I knew a good amount about Joey just like from looking up, but like it never really occurred to me that like he's an only child, like he has no siblings. And I was just kind of like, wow, you know, I kind of never knew that, because the way he just like comes about it, I don't know, I felt like he'd be, you know, at least having one sibling. And then he kind of like explains how like that ties into his relationship with his mom, because like that's her only child, and like look where he is now, he's blowing up, becoming very big. And you know, he kind of explains towards the end of the song how he just, you know, used to sit alone in his room. His mom's gone, his dad's gone, and he's just got himself there. But like that's kind of like what started him making these rhymes, you know. He's the only one there, so he's just has all this time to create, and just seeing what it became kind of makes it even more amazing when you think about it. And there's the closing track on here called Curry Chicken, which kind of just tells, once again, a relationship story between Joe and his mother. It's kind of like, you know, saying, you know, yeah, he's out here doing all this great stuff, but you know, when he comes home, he's just gonna have that good old down home dinner curry chicken with his mom, you know. Just kind of like basically explaining, like, you know, yeah, he's doing all this big stuff, but you know, when it comes down to it, you know, he still very much cares about his family, still cares very much about the people in his life, which honestly to me just kind of connects the whole thing together. You know, it's like, yeah, I'm doing all this big stuff out here right now, but you know, I'm still a down-to-earth person. I'm still here, you know, I'm still here to respect everything that's going on, and to me that's pretty awesome. Can't go wrong with that for me. Now, if there is any flaw in this album, it is one track, and that track is Escape 120. And to be honest with you, it's not a bad track, in all honesty. It's just very out of place. I mean, I get why he put it on there, just kind of to show you, like, you know, I can do more than do this boom bap type of stuff. I can do whatever. I can rap over whatever I want to, which is kind of like the bonus track Teach Me, which I also didn't like, but since it's a bonus track, I'm going to give it a pass. But either way, he kind of just did it to kind of like show, you know, hey, I can rhyme over whatever I want. I just don't have to be on this boom bap stuff. And to me, I thought, you know, cool, but it kind of messed up the flow of the album, and I didn't love it. I didn't hate it either, but it just felt to me like it didn't really need to be there. You could have put something else. But in all honesty, aside from that, this album is very good. Now, how do I feel it stacks in comparison to 1999 and Summer Nights? Well, I'll say this much. Is it better than Summer Nights? Yes, that is for sure. It is definitely way better than Summer Nights. I felt more intrigued by it. I felt it was more interesting, you know, it was good. Is it better than 1999 though? I can't really say that yet. I feel that 1999 has made a special place in my life, in my heart, because, you know, very relatable things in it. It's just a very good mixtape. But Before the Money hasn't been out that long, so who knows, maybe after a while it'll start to resonate more with me, and maybe I'll end up liking it more than 1999. Who knows? But I definitely feel that as far as things go, as far as like production and lyricism goes, on point. I mean, you can tell there are beats from people like DJ Premier, Static Selector, Kirk Knight, Chuck Sturridge, you know, type of people you'd expect to have on a pro era production. And honestly, it's very good. I think that's one of the things that really won me over a lot about this album, is production was done so well. And Joey, he was able to stand over that production with his lyricism. Because going back to Summer Nights, when I was listening to it, like, I just felt like maybe he's saying something like so deep that I'm not catching it the first time. Maybe I gotta listen to it over and over again. But something about with Summer Nights, it just didn't stick. It didn't stay. But with Before the Money, I definitely feel it has a lot of replay value. You can definitely listen to it over and over again and not get bored of it, because I feel each track has a little something special on it, and they don't like blend in together, which is kind of funny because of how mellow the production is on this. But it's just, I don't know, it's just done very well. So the point where you don't get bored. And then Joey as an MC with those lyricism, like there was one part where he says, he said, I can't remember what song it was, but he says return to the chambers, make it hyperbolic. And like when I first listened to it, I was like, oh, he's making a reference to Wu-Tang Clan 36 Chambers. But like I didn't catch the hyperbolic part, which is so funny because I'm such a big fan of Dragon Ball Z that not only was he making a reference to Wu-Tang, but he's also making a reference to the hyperbolic time chamber in Dragon Ball Z. And I was just like, oh my gosh, how did I not catch that at first? So overall, with my rating system of check it or chuck it, I would definitely say check this one out. Even if you're not a fan of Joey Badass, or if you're not a fan of hip hop at all, maybe you should check this one out, because honestly, it's a very good album. Check it out if you have the time, you know. It's actually $8 at Best Buy. Yeah, go figure. So definitely check out this album. It's a good pickup. But of course, I'm Doji. Now you know, and thank you for sitting through with me for this album review, my first album review of 2015. And I actually think I will be reviewing some other things this year, because apparently Kendrick Lamar is supposed to be coming out with a new album. And I'm actually a fan of him now, which I wasn't before, but I'll explain to you that story when the album drops. Bye.